Hey Scorpios, welcome to your emotional baggage reading where we'll take a peek at what you may be holding on to and how you can start to release it. So let's start first by pulling a couple of oracle cards just to see what energy is surrounding you. And the first card that came out for you is To Be Fair. Let's pull another and see what other energies are surrounding my Scorpio collective for their emotional baggage reading. And we have Supermoon. Emotions are running high. All right. Okay. So, Scorpio, what it feels like is that there's a little bit of chaotic energy that's surrounding you right now. And we'll see if it's yours or if it's somebody else's. But it feels like there is really an attempt that's happening right now to sort of balance things out. It feels as though there's some inequity in your dealings with other people. And so we'll dive in and see if this is like a romantic relationship, maybe a little bit more friend geared or something in career. But there's something that's out of sync with your life right now and how you're sort of moving through it. And because of that, it feels like the energy is sort of scattered everywhere. It's not focused in one direction. It almost feels like a little bit of hypersensitivity, a little bit of hyper awareness, a lot of hyper reaction. It just feels like the energy in your reading is so amped up that it's like, okay, something has to give because it feels like a powder keg. It feels like something is ready to just sort of boil over. That's how it's feeling. Like I feel very flushed. I feel very hot right now. And this is the energy is a little chaotic, Scorpio. So let's go into the tarot and see what else is going on because there's a need for balance here before something just completely blows up. So what is this emotional baggage that you are carrying around with you? We have the Nine of Wands in reverse. So the Nine of Wands, when it's upright, is my wounded warrior card, right? It's somebody who has been through a lot, who has been through some struggles and some challenges, but they're still standing. And so what it feels like, though, is I'm getting this image in my head of somebody just throwing their hands up. Like, I'm done. I'm done with this. I am finished. It's a wrap. It's over. I can't do it anymore. And I can't even say that it feels like a beaten down energy. It feels like a frustrated, just upset. Like there's just a lot of energy that feels it's almost like I can't even put it into words. Okay, well, there's that. We have the King of Swords in reverse. So the King of Swords is a very intellectual energy, right? They know how to use their words. They are not particularly emotional. They really function on logic. And so I think what you're carrying around with you is sort of, Scorpio, this is the nicest way that I can say this. It's like you're losing your mind. And it's like all rational thought is kind of out the window. And it's like now you're just sort of operating on emotion. Like your emotions are clouding your judgment, your thoughtfulness. And it's like when you want to articulate what you want to say, you can't because there is so much energy. It's like I can't even get these words out right now. So yeah, Scorpio, we gotta bring this down a notch because this doesn't feel like healthy energy. Okay, it feels very, very stressful. We don't want you stressed out. Now, how this is showing up in your everyday life, other than you walking around like you about a half a second away from punching somebody in the face. All right, we have the Tower in reverse. So it's interesting because the last couple of readings that I've gotten, all of you have gotten the Tower. You're the only one who's gotten it in this position in reverse. But the Tower is really about a sudden and profound change in your life. So whatever is happening in this situation, this energy that you're in is keeping you where you are. It's almost like it's feeding itself. It's like it's like the bad is feeding off of the bad, and it's getting stronger, and it's creating more bad, and it's feeding on more bad. And we have the Queen of Pentacles to clarify in reverse. And so it feels like you're shutting down, Scorpio, is what's coming through for this. So all of this stress, all of this, sort of pent up energy, it's almost as if you're sitting and stewing in it. And with the Queen of Pentacles, she tends to be a very nurturing, very giving energy, almost Empress-like. But I think for this, you're shutting down, and not only are you not necessarily giving to other people, more importantly, you're not giving to yourself. So it feels like for a lot of my Scorpios out there, this situation has got you so amped up, it's gotten you so wound up that you are not taking care of you at this point. And that's not a good thing. So why you started carrying this baggage? All right, so the Lovers. Seems like this has to do with a relationship that you were in, that there was some sort of inability for you and this other person to have a meeting of the minds. You were not able to sort of create that connection, I think, that at least you were looking for. So you and this other person weren't seeing eye to eye on very much. You kept butting heads, and I think that there was an effort from you. I don't know that it was reciprocated by the other person. And it's almost like that frustration just started building up, and it's like, why aren't you being fair? Why aren't you doing your part? And we have that clarified by the Two of Wands. So this is an inflection point, right? This is a decision card, the Two of Wands. Do you stay where you are, or do you go? Do you leave? Do you start exploring other things? But it's being stuck a little bit at a crossroads. And so it feels like, there's almost this sort of sunk cost theory that you're doing, where it's like, well, I've given so much effort and I've tried to do so many things, and I don't want to back out now because, I've already put all of this time and energy in. And it's like, yeah, but you haven't gotten anything back. Like, just because you put a lot in doesn't mean that you have to keep going. And so I feel like, you've just sort of been in this place of stagnancy and indecision and not wanting to make any major life moves. But at the same time, being in this situation has kept you in this place of frustration and just stress. And that is coming through so strong, Scorpio. So how you can begin to let go of this baggage? We have the Seven of Swords in reverse. So the Seven of Swords is my Thief in the Night card, right? It's someone who is very sneaky, very calculating. They try and do things, under the cover of darkness, if you will, right? They try and fly below the radar a little bit. And I think that where you've kind of shut yourself off, where you've kind of shut yourself down, you're not taking care of you. I think that, there is a need for you to, and this is sort of an interesting thing. I feel like this is not necessarily the time for you to publicize your plans, what it is that you're planning on doing. I do think that this is less to do with your interacting or discussing with the other person. It feels like it's too far gone for you to have any sort of meaningful conversation that's going to give you a resolution that you're happy with, that you're going to be satisfied with. And so I think that now is the time for you, because you may have been trying to do things kind of above board. I feel like it's time to sort of extricate yourself quietly. This is like the quiet quitting of relationships. If you aren't comfortable with just upping and leaving, it's almost like, all right, well, get a hold of your emotions and start slowly backing that ass up and getting out of there. We also have the world. So the world is the ending of a cycle, right? It's the ending of one chapter and the beginning of another. It's the ending of the fool's journey. And so I think that beginning to let go of this baggage, for a lot of my Scorpios, I feel like this is going to be like one tiny step out the door at a time. That this doesn't feel like something that you are going to be particularly comfortable with doing all at once. So, starting that process of building yourself up and getting out of it and looking forward to a fresh start. I think that there has been sort of this mindset, Scorpio, that maybe like, I don't want to start over. I don't want to have to do this again. There's not going to be anybody for me or anything for me after this. Just a lot of pessimism, a lot of negative self-talk. And I think that once you have the awareness that no, your book of life has not yet been completed, right? That there's still new chapters for you to discover. And once you sort of embrace that, I think that will make it a little bit easier for you. But that's a good way, I think, to start letting go of this. Now, what are you going to gain by embarking on this? We have the King of Wands in reverse. So I feel like the energy is going to sort of start dimming down a little bit, which is a good thing because Scorpio, you are on absolute fire right now. And I think that the first step is going to be getting your emotions under control. So as you think about what's next, as you start making plans for moving, I think that you're going to find yourself in a calmer place than you have been. And we have that clarified by the Magician. So this is good because you're going to rediscover you. You're going to rediscover all of the gifts and the talents and the wonderful things about you that perhaps this other person didn't necessarily appreciate. But the Magician has everything that they need to function in life. They have the pentacles, they have the cups, they have the wands, they have the swords, they have everything that they need. And I think that you're going to start rediscovering that about yourself. Now, the lesson that is coming out of this, because of this baggage, we have the Fool in reverse. Now, Scorpio, I know that, typically y'all can be a little feisty, a little bit excited. Sometimes y'all jump into stuff without necessarily entirely, completely thinking it through. And so I think that the lesson for you going forward, especially when it comes to your time and energy in the context of romantic relationships, is be cautious, be discerning. Don't just sort of leap before you look. Make sure you take a little bit of time to evaluate the other person and see if they're worth all of your goodness, all of the gifts that you have discovered in yourself. And we have that clarified by the Four of Swords. This is a card of rest. Take a minute. There's no need to rush into anything at all. So I feel like the universe in general, Scorpio, is saying be easy. Just be easy. Once you get through this situation, once you get a handle on your emotional storm, relax yourself. Relax. And another message from Spirit, reevaluate your priorities. So again, you're giving all of this time and this energy and attention to this other person and working yourself up into a frenzy, being super frustrated that they're not reciprocating, being very, very upset that things are not fair, and on a daily basis having so much energy and stress that you are about to blow, not taking care of yourself. Who's more important here? This other person that's not giving you what you need, or is it you? And I hope that as you listen to this, Scorpio, you're like, man, it's me. What you talking about? I really hope that that's your response. I really hope that you're not like, well, I don't know. Because I know. And you're what's most important here. So, Scorpio, reevaluate your priorities. Start taking care of you. And try and start separating yourself from this situation. because it feels chaotic, it feels stressful, and it does not feel healthy. There's something better waiting for you after you remove yourself and just take a beat. So that's what I got from my Scorpio collective. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.